I'm in Las Vegas, bitches. Palace Station, Las Vegas. 17th floor, looking out over the city. Got a good view of the stratosphere. A few casinos off in the distance. Twinkling lights. People walking around. This town is absolutely crazy. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to my second episode of It's Not Me, It's Absolutely You. This is Las Vegas, part 1. So last time, we talked about the past couple days leading up to Las Vegas, and now I'm on my own here. Spent a couple weeks here in Las Vegas. I think I can live in a hotel. I don't know about, maybe not this hotel, but I can live in a hotel. It's not a terrible hotel. It's just you don't want to stay here maybe for 2-3 weeks. Although I'm fairly comfortable with it. I've been to some of the nicer hotels, and they're really just unbelievable. Some of these places out here are fantastic. Just depends on how much you want to spend. I think I got a pretty good deal, so I've been here for a couple weeks, and I'll tell you what. One of the first things I noticed is nobody knows how to drive out here. It's crazy. I mean, it's like there's no lines on the road or anything. I mean, there are lines, but you wouldn't know it. And people are just turning in left and right and stopping in the middle of the street with like their phone. And it's not that they don't know how to work a car. I mean, any jagoff can learn how to use a steering wheel and a couple pedals, right? That's not the problem. I think what's happening here is, they're just assholes. They just decide to drive like that because they don't care. I've seen someone coming down the wrong way on the street, and they was looking like it. I was a problem, which is possible that I may have been because it's a rent-a-car. It's a Toyota Yaris, and I'm still not really familiar with all the buttons. There's a lot of stuff that this car does, a lot of iPod features and switches and stuff. So I might have been looking around, but I was definitely on the right side of the street, and I was in my lane. Yeah, so I decided while I was here, I would use that time to start my brand new podcast, and that's what I'm doing here. So last time I told you what happened up till now. We had a couple shows. We did a Vegas show, an Arizona show, and then a LA show. And then me and Troy drove back to Vegas. I decided to stay for a couple weeks because I didn't have really anything to do for a while. And since I've been here, I've been going out every night. I've had a lot of people take me out, and they have been very kind and have showed me a good time, but I am exhausted. I'm actually going to need another vacation immediately after this one. I just never stops out here. I mean, it's one thing after another. I've spent so much money on food and renting motorcycles and, cars and drinking. I don't really drink that much, and people have been buying me drinks. So I don't know if that's really a big expense, but which it should be. That should be like number one. I'm all backwards. But yeah, it's been really cool. I've been going to see different bands, met a lot of different people in the scene here, in the industry. There's a couple different cliques, and they kind of rotate around, but there's some really good bands, and there's some really cool places to play. The thing about out here is it never stops. You can go out any night of the week, and you find something to do, and either someone's playing a gig that or they're there hanging out, and then next thing you know, it's 4:30 in the morning, and you're eating breakfast in your hotel cafeteria or cafe. There's no cafeterias here. And you go to bed, you wake up, it's 1 PM. I mean, that's how they're doing it. I can't keep doing that. It's killing me. But I have been meeting a lot of nice people and kind of getting an idea of what it's like because I'm considering moving out here because I'm just over winter. I mean, I like it for a couple months tops. Fall is a very great time. It's a very romantic time. But then it gets into winter, and then there's all this drama and who's going to whose house for Christmas, and there's people you haven't seen all year, and You don't know if you want to see them again. If you do, you're kind of freaked out by it. And so, how's it going? How's it going with the guitar? I don't talk to them all year, and that's the question. Well, struggling with my my Phrygian mode. My Locrian sweeps are really, giving me some problems. They don't come out to see my shows or anything, and they want to know how's everything's going. Anyways, you got the holidays, and it's like one after another. Then it's someone's birthday, and it just never ends. So I don't know. I was just thinking of moving out here, and I like the weather. I got to be honest. It's at nighttime when it's a little warm. Can ride around with the window open. It's got a vibe. It's like you're playing a video game, driving down that highway in front of all the buildings and stuff. You can kind of have like the air conditioning on at the same time. Good mixture there. And everything is like 8 minutes away. It's not like in Chicago, where it's a whole process. You got to get ready. You got to go out to the car and back it out. I guess you got to back it out here, but anyways, you got to get on some highway. There's construction. Then it takes forever to get where you're going, and then you got to park. It's really hard. And if it's in the city, it's a nightmare. And if it's out of town, it's a long ride, hours and hours to get to a gig. Out here, everything's like 8 minutes. You could park. They'll park your car for you for like a couple bucks. Or you can just go park it yourself if you want to be cheap. That's what I do. And then, you're in there. If there's people walking around, they're from out of town. They're excited to see you. Want to hear some stuff. They're not like, spilling their Jack and Coke on my pedal board, telling me to hurry up and play Jesse's Girl because their friends got to leave. I'm sure there's some of that. But from where I was seeing these bands play, I was over at the Mandalay Bay for a couple nights. There was some good stuff there. I actually got up and jammed with the band with my friend Mike Zuder. And then seen a couple different bands there. Of course, Vamped. And then I played over at the Hard Rock Café. Did a little 30-minute solo acoustic set that I was asked to come down and do. They were nice enough to ask me to do that, and that was pretty fun. And you just meet people everywhere you go. This guy's in this band. This guy's doing this. You should move out here. But then some people that live here will tell you, why would you want to move here? Don't move here. You don't want to move here. But so everyone's giving me different opinions. I'm still kind of checking everything out, but it's just a really fast-paced town. It stays up late. There's great restaurants. It's not very expensive. I mean, if you anywhere you go, if you eat out every night and just go out and do stuff every night, it's gonna add up. But it's a little cheaper to live here. I think you get a little more for your money. It's not exactly safe, but I'm not saying it's like, horrible, you're going to get killed. But in certain areas, it seems like a little more unsafe than others. But that's in any town. But I think, if you really settle in, you find the right place, you can get like a pretty nice house or you can rent and have a good time out here because it's really, there's just so much going on. Anywhere you want to go, it never ends. I literally had to go to sleep at midnight, like 4 or 5 nights into it, even though we had stuff we could have done because I just couldn't go anymore. And I wasn't even like drinking. It just wears you out, one thing to another. So I did notice that in my hotel, there's some crazier people here than in some of the others. I was talking to the bellhop, and he was a real nice guy. We're talking. He was getting some copies printed out for me. We're just having this little conversation, and this weirdo comes running up through the lobby, like freaking out, sweating, tattoos on his face, and he runs up to me. Runs up to the bellhop. He's like, "Hey!" And the guy breaks from our conversations, and he looks over at him. He's like, "Can I help you, sir?" He goes, "Yeah. What hotel is this?" There's like a 900-foot sign in front of the building that I could see while I'm going to bed. So he told him, it's the Palace Station. And then he looked over at me, and I just said, "Welcome to Earth." And he just didn't get that, and he walked away. So he knew where he was now. I don't think that's going to help that guy. I also see, why isn't everyone from France has to scream on their telephone in the middle of the lobby? I just hate that when people talk really loud on their phone. especially like, and that it's echoing and he's talking in some different language. And so you can't really, you don't know if like it's an emergency, like, I just ran over the dog, or if he's just trying to give the guy directions, from France. So this hotel, it's got its moments, but I've been to some of the other ones, and there's no screaming and running around. I mean, sometimes, it also smells a lot nicer in some of the other hotels. I'm not saying it smells horrible in here, but there is a little tint of urine in parts. Whereas some of these other hotels, it was very clean. You can't smoke in certain areas. Out here at my hotel, I seen a guy in a wheelchair coming through the lobby. This guy looked like he just got hit by a truck, and then a shark attacked him. He had his arm in a cast with like a thing that held it up, and an eye patch, and his leg was up, and then he had a broken ankle, and he could only use like 2 fingers, and those 2 fingers were on like the remote control stick. He's like, I don't care, nothing's gonna stop me, I'm going to this casino. See, I mean, he might have fallen off of a building or out of a plane for all I know, and he's just here because he wants to be at the casino. And he'll wait in line, and they get the. There's a couple of great restaurants, but there's one right in the middle, the Oyster Bar. And I waited in that line for almost 2 hours because I just didn't think it was going to take that long, but I keep seeing people in this line. I mean, the line never ends. So I'm like, I got to try this. And every time I walked by, it really smelled good. And I tell you, I waited for 2 hours and it was worth it. I would do it again, but it's a real long time to wait. You wait so long that you don't even remember why you're there. But it was some kind of fish, shrimp, lobster, gumbo chowder with like a sauce. Yeah, it was great. And, when the people, they only seat so many at a time. So when there's 12 people eating, you're waiting for them to finish. So they're looking at you like, yeah, you want this extra chair. When I'm done, you'll have it. And the people waiting, I felt like I wanted to walk by and reassure them like, hey, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be okay, but it's not my place. Because I noticed that all the girls won't even look at me. I mean, I'm growing my hair out. So, right now it's really in kind of an in-between stage. So it's kind of parting by itself, and I don't know, it's not a great look. But I'll just walk through the casino, and notice they won't even look at me. And I'll try to look back, and I think it's because they're so used to, like, trouble. They're so used to people like, what's up, y'all? What's up? What's up, y'all? Where you be? Where you go? So used to that they kind of like don't want to even deal with that, which I get. Because there's really a lot of good-looking girls out here. I don't know. I keep saying that, too, because in New York there was, and now in Las Vegas. Maybe there's just, where I'm from, there's just, I don't know, it's like a shortage. But there was really a lot of good-looking girls here. And then they won't look at me. And then I find myself staring, and it's like, don't look, don't stare. And then the ones that finally do look at me and look back, yeah, they're prostitutes. And that's the only reason they're looking at me. And do I look like I have money? So they kind of smile and they're about to approach me. How you doing? And then I don't know what to say at that point. How are you? Yeah. What's your name? Sandal. Nice to meet you. Yep, I'm from Chicago. You live out here? Mm-hmm. How do you like it? Yeah. No, the weather's great. It's beautiful. Just like you. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at that vagina. I mean, I'm just not comfortable with that. I have to really know the girl likes me a lot to do something like that. Otherwise, what are they going to be doing the whole time? Looking at the ceiling, checking out the room while you're doing it? Because I need continual eye contact when I'm making love to my girlfriend. Otherwise I'm just not into it. And they won't talk to you if they catch you coming out of Subway or something, because then they know you're broke. I don't know how much one of those costs, but I'm assuming it's got to be more than it's got to be what, $30? That's kind of a lot. They have the casinos down there, so you're walking through, everyone's gambling or putting money in, 10s and 20s. They're playing the kiss game, the roulette tables, and gambling is it's an art. It's a science. You don't just go in there and gamble. you have to know what you're doing. I mean, some of it you can, just go there and spin the wheel like the roulette or whatever. But even that, there's like lines, and you put it on black. There's another one you could put it on like in between, and that covers both. There's some like rules going on here and there. And if you have to start asking for help, well, you're going to lose. I just don't think I'm very good at gambling. I'm horrible probably at it. I haven't tried. I did play some of the slots, some of the dollar slots, and I was up like $3, then I lost it all. I lost $5 that day. And I thought about it for a while, and then I stopped thinking about it because, you know what? I'm not going to kill myself over $5. But I know some of these people are doing that with hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I see them, and they're walking around looking like they just lost all their money. Guess whose fault that is? You horrible driver. Your fault. So, yeah, I mean, been staying here at the hotel and going out every night, driving around. I rented a motorcycle for a couple days, drove that around. That right there might have been worth just moving out here because you can really, there's some scenery here, I'll tell you. And yes, I know I complained about the driving, but once you get out of town and you're out there where it opens up a little more by the mountains, you can really, it's just like nothing else. It's so warm and it's nice. There's a good view. And then when the sun's coming down, it's still kind of warm at night. That's what I like. I know it does get colder here in the winter, but, during the day it is just super, super hot in the summer, obviously, but then it's going to cool off a little bit. So, that part I like. And going out every night, checking out all the stuff, a lot of action going on. You can go from place to place and then end up getting something to eat and nothing closes. By me, everything's closed at like 9 o'clock. You're home, you're in there. And then in a couple months, when it's snowing and it's The Shining out and I'm stuck in my house with snow up to the window, looking at it, waiting for a break so you can go out there and shovel it. Just thinking about it is giving me anxiety. Driving around the snow, you got to plan an extra couple hours ahead. Here, 10 minutes, you're there. You drive right in. Always a parking spot. No problem. I am considering, coming out this way. I don't know exactly if I'm going to be able to leave Chicago right away or if I should or not, but I'm really thinking about it. I would probably just live on my own. I don't know if I would live with someone if I was with like a girlfriend or someone who I really liked like that. I would totally, because it would be good to share things, do things together and split stuff. And I tried that for a couple of weeks actually in California. It started out great, and then she drove me crazy, and then she won't talk to me anymore, which is ridiculous. Okay. I mean, how do you find your soulmate a month after you stop talking to someone? I'm really upset about that, actually, and I'm going to make a whole episode just about that. I'm not going to talk about it now, though, because I'll just get all depressed. But I really liked her, and I wish it would have worked out. Because I miss her, and I still want to get back together. But she won't talk to me. She has a new boyfriend now. It's California, though, it's just really crowded, but it is super, really great out there. It's just crowded and really expensive. And I'm not sure what I would do for work. Here, I know I could work right away. So, yes, Las Vegas, going out, checking everything out, meeting a bunch of new people. I just am finding that the more I go to different places, everyone will ask you, like, what's your favorite place? And I don't even know if I have one. Because to be honest, it's all the same, but just like slightly different, right? So things change a little bit. And some places have a vibe, some don't. And some you remember for a long time and some you forget immediately. I just find that the more places I go, the more confused I get of where I want to go. But this is definitely, in there. But I know some people will say, no, you're crazy. But maybe like a year just to check it out. Can't be any worse than where I'm at. Although, they say that and then sometimes it is worse. Because me, I'll think about something for a real long time, do a bunch of research, and then make the wrong decision. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I was just born like that. So that's all for part 1. Part 2... I'm going to talk about the Cheap Trick show at the joint, the pool at Caesar's Palace, I locked myself out of the room in my underwear. I couldn't get into the restaurant with Ryan Johnson because I was wearing a tank top. My date with Phil Lewis, a gig I played at Planet Hollywood, how it's uncomfortable when you're in the elevator with only one other person, and a bunch of other stuff. So thanks for listening, everybody. Part 2 is coming at you right now. So I hope you'll keep listening, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.